I guess if you're going to have a train wreck, Kaladesh is kind of the right plane to do it in, eh? All right, here we go. This is the mana base I deserve, but it's not a bad start. We've got a cat monkey. We've got some value with Rishkar. We can cast any of our big stuff. Now, this only lets you tap things for green mana, which is unfortunate, but certainly doable. Yeah, we'll keep here. The one reason I don't like weird mana bases like this is they encourage you to mulligan in some scenarios. Wow. I'm absolutely fine with that. Just gonna say I'm not sure how we deal with that, but top decking like a god is probably one way to do it. When you mulligan in limited, you kind of destroy your opportunity to win a game. Like, you just really, really mess with your chances. So I'd really prefer not to do that if at all possible. And then when you have a mana base like this, you're kind of encouraged to mulligan more often than you'd like. That said, the Aether Torch Renegade does look pretty good here, since it looks like they want to get a Dreadnought going and we can just ping it out of the way. And then probably slam a Boar and then put the counters on it. Probably it in the Renegade at that point. Okay, that was daring. I'll give you that. That means they probably don't want to make this trade. The fact that we hit the shock means I probably don't want to make that trade either. Like, I can shock it, play Rikshar, be sad that we didn't get 2 counters. Well, it can target itself, can it? Yeah, just make the good play, Travis. Just make the good play. I think it can target itself. This is the first time I played with a card. Yeah, it can target itself. We get a pair of 3/3s. You and you. We're looking to make this not an actual card, if at all possible. I don't want to send all my counters over to Rishkar, like Daring Demolition, Malfunction. There's plenty of cards that interact poorly with what we're doing. I was considering making it a 4/4, but I don't think that's what I want to do here. I think we'd like to beat a little face. There's an argument for just casting this 4, 5, 6. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but frankly, I don't know what they're going to do about an Outland Boar. I guess the argument is if I go ahead and do this turn, they can't really interact with it. It's not attacking into that, but that's why we played a Cowl Prowler. I don't think they're likely to get 4 power, but if they do, we can again stare at them until we hit a Prey Upon. That kind of makes me want to move the counter onto Rikshar so we can attack. I think I'm going to do it. Crusher, Crusher, Crusher. All right, we can get that crude with the Silkweaver Elite. We're certainly attacking here with both of these, and we'll see what they got going on. Okay, their stuff not being on the board is good. If I cast the Boar now, we can attack with it and they can't block it, which is good. If I cast this turn, then we can crew it the following turn with the Boar. So I think I like going here. At this point, we may be interested in trading off the Bandar for something. It looks like we're not going to get the opportunity to do that, though. Yeah, I don't need the card here. I can just attack with a pair of 6/6s. What's at issue here is that they have the 7 power. So, like, I can't really attack into them currently. Well, I mean, I couldn't. Now I can. Now I can. But I mean, we put the card in the deck to draw it, right? That's why I like a main decked Obsolescence. In case you were wondering. Is this good? If so, how? Okay, so the mana worked out there. There's no guarantee that it will every time. We got pretty lucky to hit that mountain off the top. Now with 6 of them in there, it can still happen, but understand Grubs isn't really a turn 2 play consistently. We're mostly a green deck, playing a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. The mana is eased somewhat because of these. I think on another Natural Obsolescence might be something we would want, as it looks like they're an artifact-heavy deck. So I'm kind of interested in that. Demolish is another option, but I don't think we're looking to blow up any of their lands. It's probably better than Grubs. The problem is I don't want to get our creature count too low. Yeah, I guess a lot of the artifacts we saw we don't really care about using the Natural Obsolescence on. So I think I'm going to run it back. It's worth thinking some about. Well, I mean, like I was saying, when you build a mana base this strong, it's always going to be perfect. That guy again. We got something for you, buddy. You just never get to play. Alright, Bandar is a little more likely to be able to attack. So I think we're going to go with that. It's a little bit higher value creature too, but it's also kind of okay if we end up having to trade it off. Alright. That's the bad side, is if they use a removal spell on it. But regardless of the quality of your 2-drop, your opponent using a removal spell on your 2-drop is a good thing. Especially if it's a 3-mana removal spell. They kept what they had on top, so they really got no value off of that scry, if you think about it. Have them be a little scared of a Prey Upon. We're kind of okay drawing another land. Obviously, any action spell is good. Yeah, keep them scared of the shock. We need like one more land in the Cowl Prowler to land, but we can probably do that. Don't really want to trade that for a Servo, but I may end up having to. Like, we can 2-for-1 ourselves to Prey Upon that. We're committing to taking, assuming we draw nothing next turn, basically 9 damage from this. If they're looking to improvise too, we may be better off trading this. It looks like we're trading, yeah, it looks like we're trading 2 for 4. What I'm actually trying to do is get this traded off for the Servo. Blue-black is the color of improvise. That Servo is probably more valuable to them. So it's kind of like trading 2 for 1 since I'm going to take the 3 anyway, and I'd rather have it off the board. It has us potentially screwed to them having a counter spell. But I think pretending like the servo isn't a real card because it was generated, you know, for free value is not necessarily good for us. Now, drawing something here would obviously be great, but we didn't, and that's okay. If we can resolve the Prowler, I think we're in business. There's some argument to not even playing it next turn so that we make sure we get the Prey Upon hit off of it. I don't think I can afford to do that. Yeah, like if I don't play it, well, we go to 9, then I resolve the Cowl Prowler. I definitely get a Prey Upon hit off on probably this. Like their life total doesn't matter now. I don't care about the life link. But if they untap and Daring Demolition this, I don't get to play. Man, this is so rough. But I got to make sure we don't die to a Daring Demolition. And then you draw the shock like a monster. But that all works. Like I said, I don't care about their life total. I care about mine. So let's sneak this in while there's not much they can do about it. The opponent is also pretty low on cards here. There's the Demolition, which is why we waited a turn when we did. Alright, this is not a beautiful resolution, but it works. They're going to get more value than us by scrying each turn, but we can stop the bleeding. And at 5, that has to be our primary focus. So we're like one big creature away from starting to value them. That is not that big creature. But that's okay. I do like having one of these automatons in my blue decks. It's quite a good card. Like you can see how much value they're getting here putting lands on the bottom. Like at this state in the game, putting lands on the bottom is almost the same thing as drawing a card. That Whirlmaker may be the end of us. We're going to need something big, fast. Okay, that is confirmed big. It may still not be fast enough. Like at this point, we kind of need an obsolescence for the Whirlmaker. I think I do want to bring in the other obsolescence now. Because that Whirlmaker kills us way faster than this Sailback kills them. Especially if we keep hitting lands like this. Our hope here is that they make a Thopter and chump block, but there's kind of no reason to do that. Look at that beautiful mana. They get to make a dude and scry? I'm so jelly. I'm so jelly right meow. The Plunderer's looking a little suspect too, isn't it? Well, not necessarily. It's only the Whirlmaker that makes that a problem. But I need to find room for that other natural obsolescence. Alright, that does give us no more turns. That gives us no turns at all. I suppose there's a possibility that we attack here, they make a servo and double block this? That seems so unlikely. Yeah, we're just dead here. There's no point in playing any more cards. I don't often scoop them up, but in that situation we do. They've got another one of these coming. I can't double block their stuff anyway. Let's see how we feel about this blue. I need this obsolescence. I've got to cut a non-creature for it. Do I? Do I really now? I would say it could be the Silkweaver Elite, but it actually looked okay there. Like the grubs are pretty hard to play. Prey Upon might be an easier to cast shock, or Natural Obsolescence might be an easier to cast shock. But shock killed everything we had a problem with anyway. I guess I don't have to play all these creatures. We could cut one. What's our worst card? Probably this Sage. Like, I can get behind 15 dudes. It's not like we've got energy to spew all over the place. It's basically just for these guys. I can play 14 creatures and be alright. Because the Obsolescence looks like it's going to be so good. You got to keep these, but you kind of question your sanity when you do. It would be nice to see a map on our first draw step. But like, I've done the math on these hands. Even with the Devil's mana base, you still kind of got to keep them. That was a big eye-opener for me when we did the mulligan math and recognized that nearly every hand in Limited is keepable. If you haven't listened to the podcast, I think it's worth checking out. It's on manadeprived.com. It's Men from Moto. The real like point that drove it home for me was, imagine that instead of drawing 7 cards and then drawing a card each turn, instead you draw 10 cards and then you don't draw for the first 3 turns. That makes so many more hands keepable, because if there's a red source near the top, or a 2-drop, or even a 3-drop at this point because we're on the play, then this hand's great. If there's not, we're kind of in a little trouble, but we can survive that. They've had that turn 1 every time. All right. Something like a Subtle Strike here would absolutely wreck us. Another island is not great, but also not terrible. Like, it's good that we'll be able to hit the tiger on time. It's bad that we can't hit the boar, but that's, again, what splashing costs you, and kind of what happens when you have a train wreck draft. I don't often have those, so it's actually, this may sound weird, but it's actually kind of nice to be experiencing this. I fully expect there to be a mountain on top and us not to get punished at all, because I live a charmed life, but if they attack here, we 100% trade for the Automaton. We just want to prevent as much damage as we can and get to casting our big things. Like 1 mountain off the top and then no more lands for the rest of the game, we're good to go. Sold. I can't also block that because of Menace, but yeah, that doesn't work. But we're certainly trading here. That's bad if we draw a Crusher, probably better any other way. All right. That's not exactly what I wanted, but getting something off the board is probably in our favor. It's going to be a little while before we can deal with Mr. Bruiser here. But we got a plan for you. Let's just take less damage for a little bit. All right. There is a mountain on top of this deck. There is a mountain on top of this deck. There is a mountain on top of this deck. We are now pseudo close to stable. A Daring Demolition is really going to put a bee in my bonnet. But short of that, we're good. Stop having it. Why would you have that? I feel like they should swing team here. They disagree. We don't have much choice but to block that and hope that we hit our mountain. Drake not quite on time, and it not being able to block either of their creatures is kind of a big deal. We've got the tools to deal with what they're doing. We just don't have them right meow. Now obsolescence on top and we're talking. Oh, that's so awful because we've got to double block this guy. Take 2. Oh, maybe they mess up and don't attack. But I'm going to need that natural obsolescence quickly. Just got a little too far behind. Wow. Wowza. Okay. When I was saying we needed it quickly, I guess last turn was what I meant. They just managed to get some 3-power dudes on the table, turn them sideways, and rip us to pieces to punish us for this mana base, which is not hard to believe. Again, looking at the masterpiece that I've drafted here. We'll see you for round 2, folks.